Welcome back to Dragalia Foundry, a fan channel where everything Dragalia Lost can be found. In Dragalia Lost, each adventurer can be assigned a dragon, a weapon, and a wyrmprint. In today's video, I'll be going over everything we know about weapons and wyrmprints so far. First, let's talk weapons. As I mentioned during my adventurer mechanics video, weapons are broadly split into 8 types. In combat, these types will likely differ when it comes to basic attack animations and range. It sounds obvious, but something like a bow might play very differently and even lead to different tactics in combat than a close-range weapon like a dagger. The Dragalia Lost Mobile Direct mentions weapons can be obtained during quests, and we see a few being distributed as quest spoils: the Adventurer's Lance, the Soldier's Bow, and the Enchanted Wand. We can even see a sword in the single-player quest UI next to a card, likely reflecting how many weapons and wyrmprints a player has earned during a mission, respectively. The first thing to notice about weapons is that they have their own star rarity. There's also a plain circle next to the star rarity. My best guess is that this means the weapon has no element, and it's possible that some rare weapons might have an associated element, like flame, water, or wind. Either way, all of the quest drops we see are 2-star. The second thing we're told in the direct is that weapons can be upgraded. We see another weapon, the Soldier's Brand, being raised from level 1 to level 2 at the cost of 1 bronze whetstone. Weapons, like adventurers, seem to have their own experience bar. In the Soldier's Brand example, its max level is 10, so perhaps this is a 1 or 2-star Soldier's Brand we're seeing. The weapon upgrading screen contains many more details, however. Notice that both weapons and items are listed under upgrade materials. Right away, this makes me think that weapons can be leveled up not only by using different types of whetstone, but also by foddering other weapons. I also suspect weapons will simply level up when used on quest, but the quest reward screen doesn't indicate that directly, so maybe not. The next thing to point out is that weapons have the same stats as adventurers: HP, strength, and might. I think these will basically just add on to whatever an adventurer's base stats are, but look at the up and down arrows next to the weapon experience bar. Could this be a button that provides even more details about weapon stats? For example, things like critical hit rate? It's definitely a possibility, and this would help explain the mystery surrounding overall might, which it would appear isn't the sum of just HP and strength after all. Credit to commenter William Decoe, I hope I'm saying that right, who brought up this idea with respect to adventurers. Lastly, do you see those 4 empty diamonds to the right of the Soldier's Brand? Based on the next screenshot, I think these are slots for augment points, but I don't really know what they do. What's peculiar is that nowhere do we see weapons being promoted in rarity, so that might be exclusive to adventurers. If weapons are rewarded from quests and can be foddered to one another, it would make sense for them to be somewhat disposable though. It's likely some weapons will simply outclass others, whereas adventurers will probably be more balanced. Initially, I also thought weapons could be summoned as well. The direct mentioned summoning for, quote, special items, and went over wyrmprints as an example, but I figured weapons might be summonable too. Screenshots of weapons in the summoning circle reinforce this idea. In retrospect though, it could be that these weapons in the summoning circle merely reflect a summoned adventurer of that weapon type. The color of the weapon in the summoning circle could also indicate the rarity of the summoned adventurer, with silver for 4-star and gold for 5-star. However, it does look like there is another way to obtain weapons besides quests. The main upgrade tab features a button called Crafting with an image of a forge. Perhaps this is used to craft new weapons from scratch? Maybe this is even where augment points come in. It's not clear yet. Now let's move on to wyrmprints. According to the direct, wyrmprints are equipable items best thought of as talismans or amulets reflecting memories of the world of Alberia. In-game, these wyrmprints are basically fully illustrated, collectible cards that provide passive bonuses to the character they're equipped to. We see that they can be summoned or obtained as spoils from quests. In one screenshot, we even see 2 copies of the same wyrmprint being obtained, meaning unlike with adventurers, duplicates are possible. Here's a simple example of a wyrmprint from the direct: Potion Grass. The first screenshot shows the main page for the 3-star Potion Grass wyrmprint. Each wyrmprint also has HP and strength stats, and in the case of wyrmprints, so far these always add up to the might stat shown. Just like weapons, wyrmprints also have an experience bar and adjacent up and down arrow button. They also appear as one of the options on the main upgrade tab, just like adventurers and weapons. And notice how the max level for this 3-star wyrmprint is 20? More on that later. Other than the experience bar, there's also a magnifying glass to enlarge and view the wyrmprint artwork, a lock button, an upgrade button, and the ability to tab over to 2 more pages of details. There are also 4 diamond slots, which I'm assuming are for augment points, if my theory about those is correct. Tab over and the next screenshot shows Potion Grass's abilities in battle. In this case, Recovery Potency plus 10%. Besides Potion Grass, we also see Trove of Knowledge, King's Countenance, and the Warrioresses in the Direct. The abilities for Trove of Knowledge and King's Countenance were only shown in the Japanese Direct, but the Warrioresses abilities include Force Strike plus 10% and Poison Edge plus 10%, which seem rather specific. If Wyrmprints are this niche, there may be a ton of them. Otherwise, perhaps their effects vary depending on the adventurer they're equipped to. Nintendo has also released several screenshots since the Direct with more details. These provide a clear picture that 4-star Wyrmprints have a max level of 30, while 5-star ones have a max level of 40. We also get a peek at a few more abilities on the Wyrmprint Happier Times, namely Skill Damage 2, full HP, and Buff Time plus 5%. Lastly, the screenshots reveal the third tab of details for the first time, which appears to essentially contain flavor text. Several tiers are also shown, each presumably containing more flavor text, but I don't know how these are unlocked yet. Every example we see is of Tier 1. In any case, I appreciate the flavor text being there. That text and the beautiful artwork of Wyrmprints have a lot of potential to enrich the lore of Dragalia Lost. Since adventurers are drawn in a consistent style, it's nice to see Wyrmprints have a lot of variety. We even see a few that depict adventurers and dragons themselves, like Zethia, Hawk, and Midgar Sormer. And that's everything I've observed about weapons and Wyrmprints so far. Thank you to everyone watching and the many of you who've decided to stick around and subscribe. As always, I'm eager to hear your take. Which Wyrmprint art do you like best? What do you think augment points and those empty diamonds are? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you once again, and see you next time.